I could come up with something. So one of the things that that I really loved about my dad was, my dad was born in Enfield, New Hampshire on January 3rd, 1925. And within a year, his mom was dead. And within 2 years, his father was dead. And his father was a bootlegger. That's what his father did for a living.
Wow.
Spent a lot of time in jail. But my father was an orphan. And somehow he ended up coming to this area. He spent quite a bit of time in Pittsfield, Stockbridge. There were different families around that would take orphans in, and you still had to, I don't know about it at 3 or 4, but as you got older, you had to pull your weight. You had to chop wood, you had to do chores. And I think that instilled in my father a work ethic. And, one of the things I'm most proud of is that he was a worker. So my mom and dad, they were kind of high school sweethearts, except my mom was 6 years younger than my father. So, I think my dad had his eye on her, but he didn't really, couldn't, he had to wait, let's put it that way. After she was of age, it became kind of a forbidden romance with my grandfather. He was like, absolutely not, you're not seeing that man.
Mm-hmm.
And so they snuck around.
Ooh.
And I have letters upon letters upon letters of my mother to my father to my mother on a daily basis. That
Wow.
And I won't read them, but I know what they are. I mean, but I will not read them. My mother was like, she saved everything. She was,
Yes, she did.
and every night she'd write a letter, and she had the most beautiful handwriting. And my father's was very nice, and they just corresponded back and forth, and they would find a way to meet. And, my mom was an usher across the street at Spalding Press when it was the movie theater, and that was where she spent a lot of time and could get out of the house, and she had a job. But at some point, my mother's grandfather, who was an Anderson, told my grandfather, who was my mother's father, this man here, who's Scovel, and I'll pass that around a little bit, but he said to my grandfather, my great-grandfather said to my grandfather, he's a good man, you leave him alone, you let him go. And from there on, they could date. So, and my mother, I think she graduated in 1949. And they were married on June 24th, 1950. And my oldest sister came along in 51. My middle brother came along in 54. My oldest brother. Then my middle brother in 56, and he in 58, and sister Tammy in 61. But at the time they were married, my dad was a creamer worker down here at the town offices. They lived their first 2 or 3 years of their married life down at Riverside Apartments. And I've got some beautiful pictures of that. His car in the dooryard, you can see the underpass. It was a beautiful place to live, and that's where they started raising their family. But I think after my brother Tim, they were expecting my brother Tim, their third child, they needed to find a bigger place. And my great-grandmother and great-grandfather lived on North Main Street between the Hugheses and Willie B. and Beth's. And so I think one of them got sick, so they needed some help, and my parents moved in with them. And then either my great-grandmother died, and then my great-grandfather died. But anyway, they ended up buying the place off the estate. And You know, that house probably got one of those names, you know, like the old Anderson place or the old, you know, Elmore place up on Camp Rock. You live in the old Grattan place.
Yep.
I live in the old Scoville place. You know, that's the way houses get named around the area. So, Willie B's house, which was next door, there was a man that lived there, and he had a nickname, Hi There. And he got that nickname by my father, my father just loved to give people nicknames. I don't know why, but my brother carried on that tradition. But every time the man would either drive by or walk by, he'd say, Hi There. So that's what us kids were instilled to call him. Hey, there's Hi There. But it was neat. Like I said, my dad was a worker. You know, he not only worked at the creamery, he put lightning rods on the tops of barns.
Boy.
He would he raised pigs up on the North Road at the old Putnam house, which now Aaron Isham owns. So now it's the Isham house, but it was the Putnam place. And anyway, I can remember that. I can remember when he raised pigs, and of course, being a creamery worker, he got a lot of the spoils from the creamery worker to feed the pigs, and he was good at it. But after they moved into the home on North Main Street, all of a sudden my dad's getting this, you know, he's got 3 kids. Maybe I'm on the way, I don't know, but he decides that he's thinking that retail business might be his thing. You know, he's really exploring. He knows the area, you know, he knows what people love to do. And so I'm going to pass this around. And what he did was he started a little sport shop in the basement of that house. And I don't know where these ads, if they were consecutive ads or what, but I can remember as a little boy going down cellar and I'd see the remnants of arrows and, you know, that type of stuff, arrowheads and feathers and whatnot. But I think that's where his retail career started. He just loved dealing in that stuff. And the slogan on the one down by your left hand, Kathy, I think it says, "Come on up and see what we've got," or something like that.
Look around, yeah.
What is it?
Come up and look around.
Yeah, come on up and look around.
Things over.
Look things over.
Yeah.
What year would that have been? Mid-50s?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I would say around 55, 56, 57, somewhere in there.
Did Burns own the store down here then?
Yes. Yeah. And I think he was still in business. So then, for some reason, I don't know if the 4th child came along, but my mother said, okay, I can't have people coming in and out of here. We're done with this here. And my father ended up down on Main Street where the sandwich shop is. There's 3 actually separate buildings there, 3 shops there used to be. And he was in the middle one. And it was his sporting goods store. And his slogan there was, "Come on in, Dicker with Weemus." His nickname was Weemus, and I don't know where he got that.
Poppy
But
Weemus.
he loved to dicker, you know, which is a way of bargaining or bartering or whatever, you know. And so his slogan there was, "Come on in and dicker with Weemus." And